following video has been recorded to help assist servers prepare to serve daily Mass at Most Pure Heart of Mary Parish. Part 1, the entrance procession. Notice how in the procession, the person holding the cross is first, followed by two candle bearers who walk together in the center of the aisle. As they approach the altar, they reverence the altar with a simple bow of the head. If you're carrying something, do not genuflect, but bow the head. Then proceed immediately to the stands where the cross and the candles may be placed. Then take your seats on the left side of the sanctuary. This version of the procession is helpful if you're not carrying anything. The two servers here, notice, are walking side by side, shoulder to shoulder. When rounding corners, it's necessary for the server on the inside of the turn to slow down and the server on the outside to speed up so that they round the corner together. Once again, they approach the altar and reverence. When they're not carrying anything, servers genuflect to the altar. Genuflect upon the right knee, and we do not make the sign of the cross when we genuflect. After genuflecting, proceed immediately to your pew in the sanctuary, and the server holding the missal, if there is no entrance hymn, should immediately come forward and hold it for the priest. After the Lord have mercy, be ready with the book and immediately approach the priest before he says, "Let us pray." Cradle the missal with both of your hands and rest it against your chest so that the priest can read it easily. Whenever standing or sitting, servers should make a point to do so together and place their hands upon their lap. Likewise, when standing. After the homily and the intercessions comes the preparation of the gifts. After the petitions, servers should approach together, one holding the missal and approaching the missal stand, and the other going to retrieve the chalice. Notice how they join up and walk together towards the altar, shoulder to shoulder. Walk to the top step. Server with the missal places the missal on the altar, and the server with the chalice gives it directly to the priest. So again, they proceed together to the credence table to retrieve the missal stand and the chalice. The server picks up the chalice by placing one hand on top and the other around the stem of the chalice. They walk up shoulder by shoulder together, turn, come to the top step. The missal is placed on the altar. After bowing together, the servers return to the credence table with their hands folded. To retrieve any ciboria, they bring them forward together, back to the altar, and hand them directly to the priest. Once everything's been brought from the credence table to the altar, come forward with Father to receive the gifts if this is a Mass held during a school day. This part is skipped if there are no school kids present at the Mass. You'll come forward, take your place at either side of the priest, and remain with your hands folded. Receive the cruets that the priest gives to you, and bow along with him to those who are presenting the gifts. Then go ahead of the priest back to the credence table and prepare the cruets. Remove the stoppers from the cruets and leave them on the credence table. Hold them with your hand across your chest, like so. And with the handles forward, facing the priest, come forward together to the top step into the sanctuary. Hand the priest first the wine, and then the water, making sure the handle faces him. Bow together, turn towards one another, and return to the credence table. Put the stoppers back in the cruets and prepare for the washing of the hands. One server is to take the towel, and the other is to take the bowl and the water. Together they approach the priest, go to the top step, pour the water over the tips of his fingers until he pulls back. Allow him to dry his hands with the towel, return it, and bow. Return the bowl, water, and the towel to the credence table, and then immediately return to the edge of the sanctuary and stand in front of the carpeted step. After the holy, 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 all the servers are to kneel in unison on the carpeted step.
You are indeed holy, O Lord.
Be ready to ring the bells once when the priest makes this gesture, bringing his hands together over the bread and wine. Then ring them 3 times at the elevation of the host. Ring them slowly but loudly, and give a pause in between each ring, like so. Pause. Pause. The bells sound the best when you let your arm hang straight down and twist them back and forth like you're turning a screwdriver. Let the bells continue to ring before you set them back down. Don't ring them too fast. Don't ring them too soft. A little practice goes a long way. Ring them again at the elevation of the chalice. Remember, take your time, and if you feel you need more practice, don't be afraid to ask. At communion, remain kneeling with your hands folded, and you may receive when the priest approaches you. After you've received communion, take a few moments to pray. Speak to the Lord in your heart and give thanks for the gift of being able to receive Him in the Eucharist. After a few moments in prayer, rise together, and the server responsible for the missal can come forward, close the missal, and take it along with its stand back into the sanctuary. Drop off the stand, bring the missal back to your pew, and sit down together. Place your hands on your lap and try to remain prayerfully in your seat until the distribution of communion is done. Then rise together when you see Father returning to the altar and go to retrieve the water cruet. Go to the credence table together. One of the servers removes the stopper from the water cruet, turn towards one another, and approach the altar. When carrying a cruet, always place one hand across your chest. Come to the top step of the altar and pour the water over Father's fingers, or let him take the cruet from you if he wishes to pour it for himself. Remain there until he's finished purifying the vessels. When he places the ciborium on the edge of the altar, you may retrieve it, bow to the altar, turn towards one another, and return together to the credence table. Now all that remains is the chalice. So once Father has stepped away from the altar, you may come forward, place one hand on top of the chalice and one on the stem, bow together, turn towards one another, and return the chalice to the credence table. Then you may return to your pew and be seated together. The server holding the missal should immediately pick it up and be ready for when Father stands up. He will need it for the prayer after communion. As soon as Father stands up, come forward with the missal immediately and stand in front of him cradling it on your hands and against your chest.
Go in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life.
Once the people have been dismissed, the Father moves to the altar. All servers should come to the center in front of the altar, cross-bearer taking the cross down onto the lower step. Then all the servers reverence the altar in unison with the priest, either by genuflecting, or if you're carrying something, bowing your head. Cross-bearer leads the procession. Make sure that you wait for the rest of the procession to come up behind you, and then move at a good pace, but not too fast, not running, down the center aisle with your hands folded towards the rear of church. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and for all the time and effort that you spend in preparing to serve well in the sanctuary. Your help is appreciated in bringing beauty and dignity to our worship. May God bless you for the time you spend in His service.